What's happening, y'all? This is Todd Wilson with another episode of Elevate Your Game. Today, we have head basketball coach of Bishop Montgomery High School, former Division I player, former host, Rheina L. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for coming down. This is probably the fastest interview we've ever gotten together. I think I texted her 2 days ago and she said yes, and she's here. So thank you. Fresh off a flight too.
Oh God,
thank you.
Crazy,
We love to start the show off with the wall of hoop movies. Your favorite hoop movie of all time and why?
I mean, I've always loving basketball, but you know, I think that was more so because I loved like USC, and I love the fact that like Monica was such a dog. So definitely loving basketball for sure. But I also like, now that I'm a coach though, Coach Carter.
Yeah. You got some of that Coach Carter in you?
I would sometimes. I think my players would say like I do have some Coach Carter in me. But yeah, as a basketball player, I would say love basketball, but now that I'm a coach, Coach Carter.
No, absolutely. Now, would you ever play somebody for their heart? My wife hates that movie because she's like, that's so stupid. She lost. They shouldn't have got together.
It's so funny because like I thought that I was like had a high school boyfriend, and I thought that we were going to be Monica and Quincy, and it didn't work out, so probably not.
No, I love that movie. I love that. It's funny because, man, thinking about it, me and my wife, I was a part of a fraternity in college, and we had this thing called Mr. Greek. And so part of it was like a love scene. And me and my wife, she was my girlfriend at the time, reenacted that scene. And I can't believe she hates it now. It just clicked. I'm going to talk to her about that. But anyway, so when did you fall in love with basketball?
Man, I fell in love with basketball at 7 years old. I started playing I grew up in Carson, and I played in the Park and Rec League. My dad signed me up, and I was so bad. I was terrible. Didn't know what I was doing. My dad was a football player, so he doesn't really know a lot about basketball, but obviously I couldn't play football. But I was so bad, but I really loved like how competitive it was, and I just wanted to get better and better. I just remember the thrill of the game. And so after that first season, I just told my dad, like, I want to keep playing. I want to get better. And I remember like after that one season, I'd work out with him. I begged him for a hoop in the driveway. And
did you get the hoop?
We got the
perfect.
The hoop. And yeah, and the next season it got better, and then I think it was just like the part of like getting better and like improving and seeing myself get better. I just like loved that. So definitely at a young age at 7, I didn't want to play any other sport but basketball. So
So you just been hooping ever since?
I tried softball, but I got hit in the face for a pop fly.
Oh gosh.
And I was like outfield, and nobody hit it out there at like 7 years old, so I was just burning in the sun. So I hated softball too. So I was like, let me just stick with what I like, and it's basketball. So
yeah, true hooper, awesome. Yeah. And so you said you loved the feeling of getting better. Even at that young age, you could kind of remember that. Did that happen? Was there something that your parents instilled into you, like about the process of getting better, or was that kind of natural for you?
Yeah, I would say the process of getting better and improving definitely came from my dad. So my dad is one of 3 boys, and they played football at Carson High School. And my uncles were really big on like competing, getting better, proving people wrong. And so, you know, my dad received a full scholarship to play for the University of Oregon. And because he's an athlete, he kind of like instilled that in us, where we can always get better and improve on our game or in life in general. So I think that work ethic is something that my dad passed on to all of us. So yeah, like definitely at a young age where I realized that hard work can get me somewhere, that kind of stuck with me for the rest of my life.
Absolutely. And so there's 3 of you, right?
5.
5?
I'm the
it's
oldest
just
of
2
5.
sisters?
2 sisters and then
2
brothers.
2 younger brothers. Okay, so you and your sisters kind of grew up around the same time. You're the oldest?
I'm the oldest, yes.
Okay, so you're the one who started the basketball way kind of in your family.
Yes, I did. Birthday. So I started, and then Desiree played when she was old enough, and then my sister Kristen would play, and Kristen was the type that would like follow me around with her basketball shoes and wanting to play. And so, yeah, and then Desiree would be there as well, but my brothers were football players. Like my dad was waiting on a boy so he could have a football player.
Right,
So,
I bet.
yeah.
So what was the next step? So after the youth leagues and playing in Carson, your dad coaching you and training, did your dad teach you how to shoot?
My dad did teach me how to shoot.
I have this thing about when dads teach you how to shoot, you have a jumper for whatever reason it is, and I saw you hold many records at USF for your free throw percentage, free throw makes. You made the most 3-pointers in the season, like number 6 on the list. So you're a shooter. I love to show people, hey, teach your kid how to shoot at a young age, like do that. So, so what was after that? What was that next level when you knew like, hey, I'm going to take this a little more serious?
So I was so club season kind of came around. And I played with, it was a club called South Bay Waves. It was more of like a local team. And like, club season wasn't what it was now.
Right,
but, you know, when I had the idea of playing club of like, well, you can play in college if you get better. And that's when it kind of sparked of like, oh wait, like I can go to college for free and play basketball. Like my dream school was UCLA, but it was just when I started playing club and when, you know, the idea of like coaches recruiting me, that's when in middle school I was just like, okay, like I know that this is what I want, where I want to go. So, you know, I have to continue to work hard and I have to continue playing in different clubs. And so I had to make the switch from the local team to a team called Cal Sparks, which is one of the top teams currently. And so I just remember that transition going from like a local team to Cal Sparks. I remember my first practice with them, and they're still like my best friends to this day. My first practice with them, like they made me cry. Like I was so scared to play with them.
Oh, wow. What age was this?
This was like, I want to say I was like a freshman or sophomore in high school. But my dad told me this. He was just like, you needed to get tougher. So I needed to take you out of like the local games and like the local teams. Like we need to find that dog in you. So you're going to play with Cal Sparks. So I go to practice and like they pick me up full court and then they're talking crap and they're clapping in my face. Like I was like, I don't want to play with them. They're mean. Like, I don't want to do this. So my dad's like, no, you got to get tougher. This is what you got to do. And the best decision ever, because like that was missing in me. Like, yes, I worked hard and yes, I could shoot the ball, but like I didn't have that killer instinct, that dog in me until I played for this team. And like it wasn't until like I started to bark back and talk back to them, they're like, okay, Ray, you're good. We got you.
So how long did that take? Because I deal with that a lot, right? Yeah. Taking kids, and we live in the valley, right? So kids grow up in a little bit of a privileged environment, and I feel like sometimes parents hire you so you can put that dog in them and give them that look. So how long did that take for you to, you know, go from tears one day to barking back?
It didn't take long, really. It didn't, because it's like we grew up. My dad did a really good job of like, even though we went to a private school, we still grew up in Carson, and so we're still heavily involved in our community and understanding that like it is a privilege to play at a private school, to attend a private school. It wasn't until like I'm older and realized like how much my dad had to sacrifice to put 3 of us in a private school, right? But you know, I grew up playing outside with the boys, like pick up with my dad and like my uncles and my cousins. So like it was easier for me to just snap back into that because that's what I was used to, and like playing with my cousins like 3-on-3, like 3 boys versus the 3 me and my sisters, and you know, that just, to your point of like hiring somebody to like get that dog out of them, that can't happen. It has to be in them, you know? And I think that if they're put in a different environment, maybe, but it cannot be from like an older person. It has to be like something that they want to achieve. I also think that my generation, we were outside more. We weren't on our phones. We weren't on Instagram. We didn't get like highlight reels and stuff. So like, you know, you really had to prove yourself. If you were good, you were talked about. Not if you were good, you got Instagram videos. You feel me? Like people knew of you because you're good. So people are going to talk about you. So,
how do you as a coach recreate that, right? Because we probably preach it all the time, right? But unfortunately, social media has the power, right, to make a kid think they're good, better, whatever, compare themselves to another player. You know, what can be done to get the kids outside again? You know, they're not going to go outside, right? They're going to be on their phones, but what can we do as coaches to help promote that to, to families and to the players themselves?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like social media can be a very powerful tool in expanding a player's brand and even helping with recruiting. So I definitely believe that there's pros to having social media. Like, back in the day, I had to send my whole tape. Like, I couldn't cut out the missed free throws and the turnovers and all that. Like, you saw the whole raw film, whereas now you can cut it up. To get the girls to kind of think differently about social media, I feel like I stay close to them. I have frequent one-on-one meetings with them. I check in with them as outside of just basketball. Like, I just ask how they're doing. I always bring up how they could be the best version of themselves, and you don't have to be here on social media to feel like you are somebody. You're yourself. So it's having those frequent conversations with them, and encouraging them, and being just uplifting them on just not even just myself, but like my 2 assistant coaches as well. Like, we stay really close with the girls, because I mean, I can only imagine being 15, 16 years old and just looking at Instagram and people getting offers or like highlight, videos and stuff, and how they could feel like not as good. But I feel like as long as like we stay close to these girls and continue to uplift them and like talk to them about mental health, I think that's super important, is continuously staying in their corner.
I love that. Really forming a relationship with them. And,
yes.
I always talk about the difference from transactional coaches and relational coaches. Exactly. And I think the time for transactional coaches is almost disappeared at this point, because these kids need so much more emotional and mental support than ever before, because how this culture is, right? The working culture of the parents not being around, and so needing that extension of the home. And then also they need to be constantly built up because of what they're seeing and who they're comparing themselves to, and not understanding that, hey, Instagram's just I could make my life look crazy if I really posted stuff like, but what's the truth, know? And so
I think it's also important too, as adults, to show to be vulnerable as well. And I constantly use myself as an example of like, I mess up, I've made mistakes, I might not be good at this, and once they see that, like, I'm not perfect, and I tell them that all the time, like, I'm not perfect, I have messed up in my life before. I use myself as an example a couple of times when I'm like, throughout the recruiting process, how difficult it was, and I relate to them. And I think that that's also important when they see that, like, the person that's leading them also admits that, like, they've also messed up as well, or had to go through this stuff. I think that it also helps for them to see as well.
100%. And thank you for doing that. There's not a lot of adults who, in leadership roles and head coaching roles that do that, right? Have that vulnerable moment. And there's a pride thing with being a head coach and being strong, because you feel like you have to be strong for the kids, but you can be strong and be vulnerable at the same time. Absolutely. And that's a great balance to that. So thank you. So what happens next? So you transition to the Spark team, and like you said, that changes everything, changes your mindset. And did you play varsity as a freshman in high school?
I did. So I went to Bishop, Montgomery, and I played varsity as a freshman. I didn't see the floor a lot. There are games that I didn't play. And I played on a really good team too. So my dad, again, I could have very much been like, I'm better than this guard, I'm better. My dad was like, no, you're not. You need to get better to prove to your coach that, like, you deserve playing time. And so I'm
sorry, your dad told you to work harder?
Yes, he did. And
thank you. And being honest about where you were.
Yeah. And that's why, I mean, we'll get into that, but it's just, I think it's important and for my dad, because it's like, I have to prove that I want playing time. Like, I don't know any coach that like doesn't want to win. So of course, if we want to win, we would want to put the best players out there. And so I knew that I had to do my time and like get better. And, you know, that's what I did. I stuck it through. It wasn't easy though. I cried a couple times. It was hard, but you know, again, I'm on varsity at Bishop Montgomery High School. Noelle Quinn just graduated. She had 4 years of like CIF state title player of the year. It's like, of course, this is a really good school, really good opportunity to be on varsity as a freshman. I have to be thankful for that. And so, sophomore year, I moved my way up to a starting role. And I got better and better.
Let's talk about that. So making that transition, like you said, it was mentally tough to get through that transition, but you said you got better. What kind of things did you do on your own that your parents didn't have to tell you to do, or the coaches didn't have to tell you to do to get better?
So I knew that dribbling was a skill that I needed to get better in shooting. And so I remember like my dad, I had to dribble with my left hand when I would walk to the park, and I would just dribble with my left. Like I had to get that better. Old school, we got some dribbling goggles.
They still have those, believe it or not.
I bought them for my team, and they're like, what is this? They had no idea what it was. Using like tennis balls. So I know ball handling was important too. I also needed to improve my conditioning, and like I'm not really athletic, so I remember, do you remember jump soles?
Oh yeah, I wore them to high school for 2 years straight.
Jump soles, like.
So I had a 43-inch vertical. Thank you, jump soles. My knees are messed up, but thanks.
So I got jump soles, my dad got jump soles, and like we would just work out with those. Shots. I mean, shooting is all repetition. Once I have my form, I knew that like I had to just continue to get shots up, like at the park. You know,
double rims, yes.
Like chain net, like just shoot, you know. So that was the off season for sure.
What motivated you through that, right? We say it like it's simple now because you've done it, right? You know what it takes. I think a lot of kids don't understand that the actual work and the commitment it takes to get there. So what is that to you? What does that commitment look like to you?
I think it's like I was motivated by other people getting certain accolades over me. So if I'm seeing that like this person is in the Daily Breeze a lot, or which is a newspaper by my house, or if I'm seeing like everybody's talking about this player because they're good or whatever it is, like I'm very competitive, and I'm like, well, I want to be talked about, like, you know, but I never hated on them. I'm like, they're good, respect, but like I know that's what I want to be. And so I had in my mind like getting better. Like for example, my freshman year I didn't see the floor because I knew I was behind to like a senior and a junior, and so I was like, all right, like I know I have to beat out these people. I have to get better. What do they have over me? And how can I work on it? And so it was more of like seeing like my goal in mind that I wanted to achieve, and I had to, you know, be honest with myself and like, no, I'm not I can't dribble like her, I can't shoot like her, so I have to get better at that, and I did. So.
Good. No, being honest with yourself, I think that's the key. And so how that self-assessment moment, right? And you can see it in practice, right? You can see it when you play against somebody. If you're doing it at home with cone drills and all that kind of stuff, and going to play with the park with non-serious basketball players, and you're the best kid in your rec league, or even before high school. Like I think people think because they're good going through middle school, like they're the top player in these, even on the AAU circuit now, that high school is totally different because it takes a disciplined and focused kid to make varsity. Like even if you're not that talented, if you know a system, you know how to play defense the correct way, and you can shoot the ball, you can play varsity over some more talented people. And so I try to get kids to understand that like high school is a different level. And then when you get there, it starts over. You may be the top 8th grader now. It starts all the way over when you get to high school. So do what you did to get good in 8th grade when you get to high school. It's a continuation. It's a lifestyle that you're picking up, not just I got here and I'm good. It's going to be given to me. So
and I think a lot of that, sometimes those conversations need to be had with parents. not necessarily.
Talk to him.
Not necessarily just the kids, though. I think that expectation of like handouts and like you're great, so you should be given this, like that. Also, those conversations happen at home too. So I think it's a two-way street. Yes, continue to talk to your players about that, and then also like be transparent with parents as well. Obviously, that's easier said than done.
Right.
But you know, when it comes to like that development aspect of like the next level, like understand this: when you play in college, like you're gonna have to go through the same thing, and if you struggle with that, going from junior high to high school to college is completely different ballgame. Like it's just different, and so it's like getting them to understand, like, hey, get used to your role now, get used to it this way, so then by the time you leave, you're going to be fine when you play, and a coach is like, okay, for this game I need you to do this, and if you don't do it, you don't play.
Right.
You know, and they have to have that, they have to be able to be coached.
But they're putting me in a box, coach.
Exactly.
What, like, so that's the whole thing. All right, awesome. So you took that step up. You got the jump soles. You're working at the park, getting your work in. So you earn a starting spot, which means you beat a junior out for that spot.
Yeah.
And so how did that go with her?
Not good.
Okay.
No, it wasn't good. It wasn't good.
Okay. Did she continue to play that year, or did she stop playing?
Yeah, she continued to play, I believe. Sophomore. Yeah, and it would be like sometimes her, sometimes me. Definitely my junior year, I was like the pure starter, but like it was more of a competition my sophomore year. Okay. It wasn't easy, and I never took it personal. I tried to. I mean, I don't remember. I don't think I did. But yeah, I mean, that's also tough too to deal with that. It's part of the game.
Right.
You got to get better.
That's it. Got to compete.
You know, and then you'll play.
Yeah, absolutely. So how did you do your sophomore year? How did the team do overall?
Sophomore year, I believe we did well. You're
not that old. Come on now.
That was years ago. We did well though. I mean, we've always like Delray League has always been our like Bishop, Montgomery. So we did well. We didn't win CIF though. So we were close to it. So yeah, sophomore year, I think personally I had not my best season, but that was like my role playing year. Like I had to distribute, I had to play defense, I had to rebound. Also, I was one of the tallest on the team. So
how tall are you?
I'm 5'8".
Oh wow.
But like I was taller compared to my teammates. So I had to be okay with like playing the post sometimes. And I know like there's a shortage of post players these days. Nobody wants to be a post player, everyone wants to be a point guard. So, but I knew like if I want to get playing time, I gotta be a post player.
Fill the role.
So I was fine with that. Sometimes I'd play guard, but again, I was just like, wherever you need me, coach, like I'm here, you know? So.
All right, so this is the same time you're making the transition on the AAU side. And so how was that experience? Do you remember playing against anybody who's, made it to the dub or anything like that? So what was that experience like?
I think I remember going into my senior year of high school, playing that summer with Cal Sparks. We had a freshman point guard who's really good, right? And mind you, I'm going into my senior year, so this is supposed to be my summer, like starting point guard and everything, or starting two guard. I had the best shot on the team, but she started and I didn't. I came off the bench. I struggled with that for a little. I'm not gonna lie. Like I know I struggled with that because I was like, it's my time. Like she's gonna be fine. She has so much time, but I don't have time. And so definitely was hard for me. I would never. But when the minutes that I got, like I worked my butt off because I knew that I'm good because I'm on this team. But you can't tell me that like I work hard no matter what minutes, and I knew that that's also what coaches are looking for too. So when I did get my minutes, I played well, or I'd make my shots. I played defense. Like that was tough. But again, it happens. Like my dad didn't go up to the coach and like talk to them about me. Like he was like, work hard.
That's it.
You gotta prove to, like, I'm like, all right, fine. Like, even though I was like, come on, Dad, I need you this time. But he's like, no, just get better. You'll be all right. And also just trusting God's plan too. It is definitely, it's hard to get recruited these days for sure with the transfer portal, you know, but back then it was also difficult because I felt like I was too slow to be a point guard and too quick to be, like, I was like in that combo guard type of role. Like, I could play point guard, but I could play two, but I also play the three. Like, I was a little different. And so I got feedback that, like, I'm better off at a D2 team or a D3. I won't play Division 1. Again, I could have had that and been, like, sulking and been like, I don't want to play basketball anymore. But, like, again, I wanted to prove those people wrong. I know exactly who said it, and I just was going, I was like, I can't wait to see them if I play Division 1, and, like, I did. So yeah,
that's amazing. That's awesome to have that balance of understanding what people are saying, but also having the fire to prove them wrong. I think a lot of kids get hung up on what they're saying, like, oh, coach doesn't think I'm this good. Just go and prove them wrong. Like you said, coaches want to win. And so this is even in high school where, you know, high school transferring is just as big as college transferring at this point.
Sure.
And so it's like, just go prove them wrong. If you're that good, go do it. And there's no way a coach can hate on you if you're the better player on the team.
Exactly. And I think that's also the mindset that I got now that I'm coaching, of, like, proving people wrong, because when I got the job at Bishop Montgomery, I got a lot of love from people that know me, but people that didn't know me, a lot of hate, a lot of, like, she's a first-year coach, why do you give her this? Like, she doesn't know what she's doing, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, the team and I had, of course, they're going to look at me like, you've never coached before, but you're going to coach us. And so, you know, that took a lot of, I had to take a lot my first year and really, like, soak all of this in, understanding who I'm coaching, not letting, like, the negativity outside control what I'm here and determined to do. And so in the off season from last year to this season, I had to get better, be a better coach. And I did what I needed to do. I reviewed games. I restructured my team to figure out, like, okay, these are our strengths, these are our weaknesses, how can we improve? The smallest details, like practice plans and, like, planning a team retreat, like, all of that in order for me to get better as a coach too. And so I share that example with the girls as well. Like, you know, they know all the negativity that gets thrown at me on a daily basis. And so it's like, for them to see their coach, who's a woman, go through things to only get stronger and to get better, and having the season that we had this year, it's like, I'm an example to them that, you know, when people put you down, that you can't do something, like, you see that it has happened to me, that it's going to happen to you. And I tell them that all the time, like, don't ever let anybody tell you you can't do something, because if you put your mind to it and ignore the noise, like, you can. So I think that's something that I take away a lot, and thinking, like, there's always someone watching you, Rheina. So don't react as hard as it is, because there's 12 girls that I coach right now, so they're always watching you to see how you handle adversity. And so I take that into consideration before I react. It's hard, but
no, it's good. No, that's it. You're attempting to do it, and you're going to continue to get better. Like you said, it's your second year doing this.
Second year
at Bishop. So it's like, you're going to continue to get better. You're just at the beginning of your coaching journey, you know, in the big scheme of things, probably, right? And so, no, that's amazing. And like you said, they get to, it's like you're still attached to the game too. Like, you're still a player. I'm sure you can still hoop too. So the respect they have for that and what you've done, and bringing that all together and then producing results.
For sure.
It's like, what are we talking about here? And so just keep silencing the haters. Love it. So while you were in high school, who was your coach while you were there?
So my first 2 years was Lisa Cooper, and then ended off with Bryn Britton.
Okay.
Lisa was coach of the year. She had like Noah Quinn and Nakia Peace and all those players, and then Coach Bryn came in. She was She was like the most. I think she scored the most points in LMU history.
Whoa.
And actually, it's a crazy full circle moment, but her first coaching job was Bishop Montgomery, and it was my team, like the team that I was on.
Wow.
So, like when we reconnected, when I got the job, like some of the things that she would tell me that she went through as a coach her first year, I'm like, dang, like it's crazy that we're experiencing some of the same things. And I always thought that she was just such a great coach, you know. But yeah, so she coached me for my last 2 years.
Awesome. And are they both still coaching?
No.
Okay.
Lisa, I believe, is working in Culver City I think she's a principal or something. I'm not too sure. She works in the school. And then Bryn is a real estate agent.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Went away from coaching. Okay.
Yeah.
And so how did that's what I was going to ask is how did they impact you, while you were a player at least, and what things did you take from them that you bring into your coaching now?
Yeah, so I would say more so with Coach Bryn. She was a very soft but stern coach. Not much of a yeller, but very smart. Very, very, very smart. And she could shoot. Like her form, she was just really good. And so I would say what I've learned from Bryn in high school, my high school coach, was to be effective by your knowledge in the game, but you don't necessarily have to yell to prove your point,
right.
And it just wasn't her nature, it wasn't her personality. And so I also remember just like the relationship that we've had, like stopping by lunch and going to her classroom and like talking with her about things. Like I really like that about my high school coaches, that we had that relationship.
Yeah.
And not only with her, with like I remember the assistant coaches as well. It was just great to have an all-female staff too. So yeah.
Yeah. So how important do you think that is to have a female coach as a female player?
Yeah, I think it's really important. My goal is to encourage more women to coach girls basketball.
Yeah.
I think that we can help these girls, mold them into strong women. We can lead by example. It is important for me to have an all-female staff. I had, also trust is important. So there's only the one, like you can't trust anybody other than your family, right? So my sister Kristen is one of my assistant coaches.
Oh, cool.
And she played at the Division I level. And one thing about Kristen, she's very smart. Like she is a film junkie. Just super, super smart within the game, and very, very, she's great under pressure, very calm. She's also kind of like balances me out a little bit. I can be like the feisty one. She's like the calm one. So, she brings me down sometimes. And then Taylor Butler, she played at Cal State Fullerton. She was coaching at Bishop before I got the job, and I kept her on as an assistant.
Awesome.
Because she had a relationship with the girls already, and I've known of Taylor since high school and college. Also fun to be around, relatable to the girls too. So it was important for me to have a staff of women that did it, that went through what they wanted to go through, and again, building that relationship with the girls. So.
No, I love that. I think it's very strategic. I don't think that many coaches think about that dynamic all the time, right?
Yeah.
Being relatable to the players by somebody who's going through where they're trying to get to. And for boys, I know on the boys side that everybody's going to the NBA, right? And so, are trying to. And so, you have some really good coaches who are old school and have learned enough through experience and become great coaches.
Yeah.
I think this day and age, those kids are looking for people who have actually played and have the emotions that they felt and understand from that different level. So I think that's super dope. You're doing that on the girls' side. Like you said, encourage more for sure to do that. So junior year, you kind of have your breakout year as, full-time varsity starter, all league, and I think you averaged 14 points, something like that. Yeah. So you were hooping. What stands out about your junior year and, that dynamic from sophomore to, battling for a spot, getting your opportunity, kind of playing anywhere, to being kind of the person your junior year?
I had a leadership role my junior year. So I was voted as captain. And so I think that was also something that changed my style of play, because I led by example, because I worked hard. I was always like in the gym, putting extra work in and stuff. But now I had to be more of a vocal leader. And I needed to address things that address things in the locker room, right? Your coach, and I talk to the girls about this a lot, like leadership doesn't have to come from your coaching staff. Leadership can come from you. If you are in the middle of like locker room talk and it's negative about your teammates or your coaches and you're listening, you're not addressing anything, you're just as guilty. And so I had to grow into that and kind of like address problems within my team and avoid and prevent it from happening. I also had to, my sister Desiree was on the team too, so she was a freshman on varsity as well, along with 2 other freshmen. And, you know, I had that big sister role of like protecting my sister from, you know, teammates that would be just mean, you know, and so keeping that culture of positivity and like being good people. So that was definitely something that I had to learn that year for sure. It stood out to me, like just moving into more of a leadership role and a captain.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. And extremely important in being the vocal leader. I think that was important because your game probably spoke for itself, but being that vocal leader, how do you encourage someone to be a vocal leader? You know, I learned from talking mess to people in the court when I hooped outside, like, so it became natural when I was on the court to just talk. And so, you know, how do you encourage someone now who hasn't had that opportunity to really be a vocal leader?
So I actually had this happen this season so far. You know, because I have that policy where I have the team talk to me about anything that they want, one-on-one situations. If there was a situation between, you know, the team and, you know, talking, adversity hits, stuff happens, right? I'm not oblivious to it. So I had a situation came to my office and I had said, I want you to handle it. And then I enabled her to handle something to prevent it from spreading to the rest of our team, like culture-wise. And this was before season. And I was like, I want you to start being a leader now. I will address it if I need to, but I think you got it. So I think that's like putting the girls into situations to lead. Whether it's through conversations, and it's not even just through basketball too. I've had conversations with my players about some friend dynamics outside of the team, and how they should handle certain situations. And you know, instead of like coming to me for help, it's like, here's what I think you should do. Here's my suggestion, and I think you're able to handle it on your own.
Love that.
So. You know, if I have to insert myself, I will, but I know that you can handle it. It's all about your delivery. But, you know, let me know how it goes. So I just like throw them out there and experience things, and, you know, and problem was fixed. Didn't have to address it after that at all because it was done. And that's the culture that I've developed within the season is like, you know, the girls are going, we're going to not get along. We're going to be upset with each other. Like, that happens in basketball. We're passionate, right? So it's like, how do we come together through adversity, and how do we learn from every loss? And we've done that, and so I think that's like definitely something that I'm proud of from last season to this year. The winning record is okay, like that's cool and all, but like just seeing the growth and the change of these girls to not only on the court but just as they're just maturing and they're handling things differently and they're holding themselves accountable. And you know, they're just different they're different young women too. So I think that's to see that in one season I'm happy about, because I feel like at the rate that we're going to continue, like by the time they leave Bishop, they're fine. You know, and that I think that's when I would do my job.
No, absolutely. That's amazing. And how did the parents respond to that? Do they see the change as well?
I've had some parents address that change with me and like thanked me of that. And so for some that have thanked me for it, like it feels good to see it. So yeah, I think some of the parents are noticing it. So
it's happening outside of the basketball team, and you know that's carrying over to home as well. Just the accountability and them being forced to make responsible decisions and for the betterment of everyone, and get into uncomfortable conflict. Like it's okay, because if we're going to go through some conflicts sometime in our life, so we definitely have to teach them to do that. And do it while they're in high school.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Do not do it. Well, don't wait till college when they're on their own and they got to call you back home or whatever. Wait and do it as early as possible.
I know. And that's what messed me up. That's why I am the way I am, because I was such a basketball head. Like, we talked about how hard I loved this game. Like, I worked, but that's all I wanted to do in college. And I was in the gym, I was, which is great. I had a really good personal year, like at USF, but I struggled after because I didn't want to go to class. I didn't want to get an internship. I didn't look at anything other than basketball after I graduated USF. And that's what messed me up. Not messed me up, but that's what pulled me back a little bit, because I feel like everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
God puts you in positions to grow, and I was in that phase of like kind of an identity crisis of like, who's Rheina without basketball? I really did not know, because that's all I did since I was 7 years old, and I loved it so much. And remember Kobe had an interview, I believe it was Good Morning America, where he said, basketball is what I do, it's not who I am. And that's when it stuck with me. I'm like, damn, like this game means so much to me. But if you put your all into it and you identify as just the basketball player, right, you are going to struggle when the ball's going to stop bouncing at some point. So whether you're ready for it or not. And some of us would be ready to retire on our own, but some of us, like myself, I wasn't ready to give it up.
Yeah.
But I had to. And so I had to start all over, rather than preparing myself throughout USF for like a career path outside of basketball. Like, that's definitely something that I wish I would have done. But the great thing about this experience is that I can now tell my team my experiences, so they're like fully aware of like, okay, here's what I can do as a career move instead. So like, yes, I went through it, but I'm better for it now, and I'm able to teach my players about what not to do when they're in this position.
100% part of your purpose now.
Yeah,
and that's probably why you went through what you went through and how you went through it. Right. So it comes back full circle. Our gifts are for other people. They're never for us. And so you're living in that. We jumped ahead a lot, but we're going to scale it back. No, it's good though, because we're definitely going to talk about that. I think that's a key element in the big scheme of things, that basketball is what you do and not who you are. And part of the reason we started this show is I'm starting a consulting company called the Basketball Firm that does that. It gives you the blueprint to how you can get to your goals in basketball, but also how basketball brings you through the rest of life. Like, I'm still involved I'm just like you. I started playing at 11, but nothing but basketball. I hadn't played another sport. I tried out for football one time, got hit in practice, and never touched helmet again. My senior year in high school, it was crazy. Like, so basketball. And same thing is like, I went out, tried to work. My dad worked for a financial company, got a job there, and tried to do a financial advisor and all this other stuff. It was like, nope. I eventually got back to training, developed this amazing training business, turned into court, and it was like, cool, I can still stay plugged with basketball. I still get to do all the things that I think I would want to do if I played pro at one point. Like, they're even pros after you're done playing pro. You still have to figure out what you want to do after. And so I think it's a very important thing to start thinking about as a high schooler. Parents, your child's future can be basketball, but you have to have something they fall back on when that basketball stops. Yeah. And I think it's the parents' responsibility to do that. Like, we're supposed to be an extension of the house, not the other way around. I feel like sometimes we're the actual core that keeps these kids together, and then the house is an extension of that. Absolutely. But it should be the other way around. So I just want to encourage parents to start thinking about that. Get them into internships while they're in high school. And over the summer, yes, do a basketball camp and train, but also have them go work. Have them go sit with you in your office and learn what you do and see if they could take over the family business. Get networking with your friends and let them go work, go shadow an NBA agent.
Yeah.
Go shadow somebody that's working in this basketball space. Go tell them to go be a videographer for their friends' games. Like, there's a whole business in that. So I just think there's so many options now for people who want to stay connected to this game to go do it. And so
I agree.
Yeah. So we're gonna go back to high school. So senior year, Delray League Player of the Year, all CIF, all everything. What was different about your senior year now that you're the leadership role? Now you got it. You understand this high school thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Senior year, I was more so determined to play in college, but also for the team, I had the mentality, I was like, this is my team now. Like, I am not going to tolerate certain things. I want us to be very inclusive. One of my best friends to this day, she transferred over to Bishop, and I remember we joke about this all the time. I remember her walking in the hall, looking lost, and like I go up to her and I was like, hey, I'm Rheina. I'm the captain of the basketball team. I heard you're on our team. Welcome to Bishop.
Wow, like a TV show.
And I just remember she was just like, Rheina, I thought you were so weird. And I'm like, and she's like, but you're just the nicest person ever. Like, you really like took me under your wing. Like, I literally took her at lunch. I introduced her to the team. I told the team, I'm like, hey, we're meeting here. Come and introduce. I just want you guys to meet our new teammate. Our new teammate. It's not just like the new person on our team. And so, it's like I said, we're still best friends to this day, and we joke about that all the time. But that's the culture that I want is like for us to be I don't ever want anyone to feel like they're different, but also to never be left out of something that I'm a part of. Like that's always been who I am. And also my senior year, my sister Kristen was at Bishop too. So
all three of you guys played in.
All three of us.
Oh wow.
We're on varsity at the same time. So that was also fun to play with my sisters. Like, we had 6 a.m. practices, and I remember driving my grandpa's old Jeep that like the AC or the heat didn't work, and like there was no radio. Like, we were just like, we had to take the streets to Bishop, obviously, because we're from Carson, but it was just like, that was also really fun to just play with my sisters and experience things with my sisters. Yeah. My senior night, to have them all on the court with me and my family.
Don't cry. Don't cry.
Not going to.
Okay.
I was like, no, I'm not going to. But no, it was fun. And that my senior year, that was when we went to Division I for CIF.
Nice.
So, I mean, not really, because we had to play against like Long Beach, Wilson, Poly, like all Latter Day. It was different. Like, back then we were Division III, and then we moved up to Division I. I was like, well, there goes my chances of seeing that ring. Like, okay. But it was fun.
It prepared you, right? It prepared you.
Us.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my senior year.
Awesome. And then how did recruitment go? So how did the recruitment go? Just from junior to senior year, and then I'm sure Cal Sparks had something to do with helping you get in front of the colleges and all that stuff. EYBL didn't start then; it was just the bigger tournaments and all those things. And so, how was that experience, and how did recruitment go, and why did you choose USF at the end of the day?
I had a very interesting recruiting experience too that I also share with the team. Like I said, we're getting recruited. You had to send your highlight tapes or play, and I didn't get the most minutes on my club team, and but whatever minutes I got, I like played my hardest. So I was not heavily recruited. I had some schools passing up because I was in that middle. It was too small.
The tweener,
and I also had to play big sometimes with my Bishop team. So I definitely struggled a lot with like hearing other people, because like I said, if you're good, people talk about you, and like you hear, it's word of mouth rather than like, we didn't have like Twitter and like Instagram. So when I hear other players get recruited by Division I schools and like offers and stuff, I was like, what the hell? Like, I gave you 30, like I locked you up. There is absolutely no way, So I got caught up with that a little bit. I did. But actually, when USF came around, they came to my practice. Coach Janelle Stiers, she's actually the head coach at Cal Poly of San Luis Obispo, and she came to my practice, 6 a.m. practice, and after that, they invited me to an official visit, and I didn't have any other Division I offers at the time, but I really loved my visit, and they offered me after that visit.
Wow.
And again, they saw my tape, they saw how I practiced, and that's what got me a scholarship.
Wow.
And fast forward to now that I'm coaching, I remember I ran into Coach Stiers at a tournament, and I told her, I was like, hey, guess what, I'm coaching at Bishop. And she's like, oh my gosh, Rheina, I'm so proud of you. She's like, the way that you practiced that one day, like when I came to watch you, I was like, oh, she's going to be a stud. I just knew it. And I was like, I literally got recruited at practice because of how hard I practiced. And, you know, that's unique. Like, again, I was the last, I didn't have any offers, no schools, like Division II schools. I remember a Division I school that I wanted to go to passed up on me and told me that I'm better off at a D2, D3 level. And no shade to any players that play D2, D3, but I knew that I could play Division I. Like I knew that I was capable of doing it. And so when I committed right after, and that was important to me too, because I knew that was my only ticket to college. My family had 4 other kids to feed. My brothers were young at the time. So, and my sisters are still in high school with that private school tuition to pay for. Yeah. So I'm like, if I want to go to college, I got to get this paid for, you know? And so that happened, and super, super grateful for Coach Stiers, because again, like, being recruited at practice is just different. Like, she saw something in me that like, not a lot of coaches did.
That was her first time seeing you live?
Live, yeah.
Was at practice, and offered you right after?
Well,
or after
told me that, told me to come up. And
wow.
That was definitely something, like, for sure, that was a big, big accomplishment that I'm grateful for. I
love that story, because you try to tell kids all the time, you know, practice the way you play. And, you know, I say how you do anything is how you do everything kind of thing. It's like, if you're going to play hard in the game and you want to get recruited and want to get all this attention, do it in practice, because you never know who's watching.
Exactly.
And that is a testament to that. But it was built up through all the years. Since you were 7, you always had that work ethic and those things, and you build. And I see a lot of leadership. I think it has a lot to do with you being the oldest, right, of a big family. That usually happens where you have some, I want to say, innate leadership ability, because you probably had to play the mom role sometimes for your sisters and your brothers, and then people giving you responsibility. Your dad I call it releasing you to the game. Your dad released you to the game, like, no, you want this, go work hard. And giving you that opportunity to grow. And man, look where it ended up. USF, which is an amazing school academically, and then getting to play D1 and proving who wrong, who is it? You want to call them out? Okay, you don't have to. The person who's at your D2? Okay, all right. But proving them wrong. And that's sure, like, I don't know. To me, that's like your mantra of your life. Like, prove them wrong.
For sure. Oh, absolutely.
From 7 years old to your dad, who's like, or I guess to yourself, like, you were terrible. Like, do you really want to do this still? To get into college, like, prove them wrong.
And I think that's definitely something that fuels me. It's like when someone tells me, puts limitations on me, I always like, okay. I don't say anything else. I'm not going to react. I'm like, time will tell. Like, I know who I am as a person. Like, I know I can get to where I need to be if I really wanted to. So definitely proving them wrong. Like, that's the best thing.
Hashtag PTW on all your posts moving forward. I'm not going to take any credit for it. You got it. But no, that's dope. That's super dope. Man, it's the dog. Like, that's what creates the dog. Is like, that's the same thing for me. Mine came from proving my cousins wrong, who used to beat up on me and punk me in basketball. I'm like, no, I'm gonna get better. Like, everybody wants to know how to create the dog. Put somebody in a situation and see if they really want it. I think that's the other part, is that parents want it more than their kids. And so they're putting in the situations. The kid's not responding because he really doesn't want he doesn't want what comes with this. He really doesn't want to prove anybody wrong or be the best player. He wants to look cool and have fun and be with his friends, which is fine. Do that. Parents, if you back off, you're going to see.
Yeah.
Like I had to get kicked off of basketball courts. I had to get, yes, I got whoopings growing up, y'all. I had to get whoopings when I didn't come home on time for playing basketball too late. Like, that's how you know your kid wants it.
Yeah.
So let them do it, okay? And when they're younger, you kind of force them to, so they create habits. But once it's something where it's serious and then they're saying they want something, let them do it. Let them come wake you up to take you to practice at 6 a.m. It's awesome, by the way. Yeah. But all those things. So you hated it?
I'm not a morning person.
Oh, I get up at 4:20 every day.
I can't. I try. I want to be a 5 to 6 a.m. girly so bad, but I can't. I don't know what it is.
What time do you go to bed?
That's the problem.
Yeah, there you
Probably.
go. So you go to bed at 9:30, you're straight.
Yes.
There's nothing happening. There's nothing but the devil's work after 9 p.m. That's what my mom used to say. So go to sleep. No, that's awesome. As long as you're getting your work done and you're being productive, that's what it's about.
Sure.
But awesome. So USF.
Yes.
All right. So you go on campus that summer.
Yeah. So I go on campus. Okay, so let me back up a little bit.
I do want to back up. How proud were your parents?
Oh my gosh, they were so proud. That was like, I remember calling my dad and he was super emotional. Like, it was, because he's just like, okay, my job's finished. Now I have like your sisters and your brothers to handle and stuff. But like, it was a weight lifted off of their shoulders for sure to be like, to have their kid go to college for free. But yeah, they were super proud of me because they knew also my journey as well. Mm-hmm. Like, just coming home crying and just upset with like, how are these people getting offers and not me? Like, how? What am I doing wrong? Like, what is it? Like, you know, and my dad's like, just keep praying, you know, keep working hard. Like, your time's coming. Like, God has a plan for you and stuff. And it's like, okay, Dad, like, I hear you, but like, no, it's not. So, yeah, that was definitely one of the biggest, my favorite moments of like calling them after I got offered. I was in the hotel room and I was like, I'm committing. Like, I love it here. Like, this is it for me. I don't need to visit anywhere else. Like, I know I love it here. So
that's amazing. No, and you found somebody who believed in you.
Exactly.
And that's where you want to go. When somebody believes in you that much from seeing you one moment, invite you, offer you, like, kids, stop wasting time. I think that's so important. Yeah. And so don't wait for other options if you don't have to. Like, if you know you're supposed to be somewhere, just be there. Yeah. That's it. Just simple. Just be there. All right, so go ahead. So going into college now.
Going into college. Okay, so I remember we had to report in San Francisco. We had conditioning tests, and I was just telling the girls about this too. The hardest, coach, preseason conditioning was the hardest thing that I've ever done my freshman year because I wasn't ready. Like, I knew that it was going to be different, but I didn't know. Like, we had 2 conditioning tests, not 1, we had 2. And we had to, I remember the on court, we had to do 20 suicides in 20 minutes, but the guards had to do the suicides in a certain amount, like a certain time period. So like, you finish it, let's say you finish it in like 45 seconds, you have 15 seconds rest, then you gotta do another one, so 20 straight. Man, I called my dad after that. I said, I don't want to do this anymore, Dad. I don't think I'm gonna make it. Like, my roommate at the time, she didn't make it. I made it, but like, she was struggling, and I was like, Dad, I don't think I'm cut for this, man. Like, I really don't. Like, I want to come home. Like, I think I'm gonna go back. And he's just like, no, stay, move. I didn't really like it my first couple of months. I was homesick. Mm-hmm. I miss my family so much. I miss my sisters. Like, I was crying every day, and he's like, no, Rheina, you're gonna like it. Like, just stay with it.
And you have a free education. You ain't coming home.
That's it. You're stay your butt put. Like, what? So that was so hard. And so I ended up like just sticking it through. I was the 5th freshman to get signed, so the last scholarship, right? And I wasn't expected to play much because the coach that recruited me left.
Whoa.
So I knew that like it was gonna be a grind. I kind of like had a sense too that like the coaches weren't messing with me at the time because I wasn't their recruit. So I was like, okay, I really
like
have to,
totally new coaching staff, or just one coach left?
One coach left.
Got it.
So I was like, okay, I really have to like.
Head coach or assistant?
Assistant.
Got it. Yeah.
Assistant.
No.
So I was like, oh God, okay. So I remember we had a green and gold scrimmage, which was a preseason scrimmage. It was like supposed to be really fun, Midnight Madness type of thing, right? And like the starting point guard time was like on with the other starting senior. We had a starting two guard who's one of my best friends to this day too. She's like one of my big sisters. She was on. So I knew that was going to be the starting five, and that was like the scrub, you know.
Yeah.
So even though it was like Midnight Madness, it was like a green and gold scrimmage, I hooped. Like, I went off. And after that, continued to practice.
What do you mean by hooped? What were
like
you doing that to really stand out?
Scoring, making good passes, running the plays. Like, it looked like I owned the floor. Like, I vividly remember this. Like, I knew that, like, this is my chance to prove to like my coaching staff that I'm a gamer. Like, I could play. I knew it. I knew I was going to be coming off the bench. It's in front of a crowd for the first time, because mind you, this is like a exhibition scrimmage. So the scrimmage was cool. So then the exhibition game, right, I come off the bench and I'm killing it again. So I'm feeling good, but I already knew that I was going to be coming off the bench for this season, right? Because the starting point guard was a junior, yeah. And then, so anyway, so I was just like, all right, she's older than me, whatever, like, cool, I'm prepared. I wanted to play two because I was a shooter, but the point guard position was up for grabs because the starting two guard was like everything, like for me. So I was like, I'm not going to play if I want to be a two. I want to play, I got to transform into point guard. I never played point guard in high school. Remember, I was like the 4.
Right.
I was rebounding.
Wow.
So, but I could dribble. I'm smart. So I was like, I'm going to go for a point guard position because that's where I can start immediately, or I can at least play more if I'm a 1. Our first game was at Tennessee. This was when they had the ring ceremony, yes, at Tennessee. Because my head coach, Tanya Have, Abby Conklin, they both played for Pat Summitt at Tennessee, right?
Wow.
So they had a connection, and so we played Tennessee for their ring ceremony. So it was kind of like for Tanya and Abby to come back. And we met Pat Summitt. We had practice there. We had a tour of the school. Pat Summitt just gave us like a speech and everything. And I just remember how it was just orange everywhere, like all over, like fans. It was a crazy experience, right? After we warm up, we go into the locker room to get ready for the game and stuff, and like our pregame stuff. And I see my name as a starting point guard. And I was like, sitting there, I was like, I'm about to like throw up, but get all that stuff. And so the starting point guard comes up to me. She's like, Ray, you got the starting spot tonight. You're about to kill it. I was like, thanks, Dee. Like, I appreciate you. I call my dad right after, because before we go out, and I called him. I was like, I'm starting tonight. I need to pray. Like, I'm going crazy right now. Like, oh my God. And so we prayed real quick, and I was like, I'm starting tonight. This is my chance. I'm starting point guard. Man, when the ball when they let the ball in, when I tell you they full court pressed me, I just threw that ball. And I prayed to God that my teammate would catch it, because I had Shakina Strickland just coming at me like 6'2" point guard, and I am like 5'7", 5'8". I said, oh my God, Katie, please catch this. I literally threw it. I'm not gonna lie. Threw it, and I think they caught it. They caught it. I didn't turn over the ball. They caught it, but I remember I just threw that. And then the next play, I think I turned over the ball, call timeout, whatever, right? Mind you, we're playing Tennessee.
That's Tennessee,
Tennessee, so whatever. Cool. My coach said, "Are you ready to play?" I'm like, "I'm ready now." I just had to get that one. I'll never forget that. Inbounded the ball, they pressed me. I'm like, oh my God, threw that so fast. But I ended up playing a decent game. But I started every game ever since then.
So you started your whole college career?
Whole college career.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Just
but that game,
crazy.
Sure.
Yeah, that'll throw you. It's like you get set up with these challenges where people have a choice. You fight or flight.
Yeah.
And you fought through every single one of those moments. You fought not going back home after being recruited by somebody leaves. That's usually a sign that you should leave, but you fought through it. You fought through the conditioning and not thinking you'll survive that, and the homesickness, and you fought through it, and it just made you stronger and stronger to this moment that sets you up to be you know, kind of an all-time player at USF.
Yeah, and it was great.
From not being recruited by any other Division One.
No, anybody. And it was so fun to just go back to these schools that overlooked me too and just ball out on them because I took that, again, to prove them wrong. I'm like, okay, passed up on somebody really good because of your idea of like what a true whatever. I was a tweener, you know. But somebody took a chance on me, and that's Chanel Stiers, and I appreciate people that take chances on the potential, right, that someone could give you. And you know, like I'm so thankful for this job at Bishop Montgomery. I mean, it's a hard position to be in. I'm filling the shoes of Noelle Quinn. Like, she was the previous coach there.
WNBA coach right now, right?
Noelle Quinn, WNBA.
Yeah, like, yeah.
Coach, so I'm just like, and I know it was a really hard, I had to go through a rigorous interview process too, but they believed in me, they gave me a chance, and that's all it takes. It's like, I promise, like, I will do the job, I'll get the job done. And I did. I mean, we made open division league champs. Like, you know, I was going through the motions. I've never coached at this level before, but I knew what it takes to be at the level that I want my players to be. Yeah. And I think that's what sets me apart from most other coaches too. And I have my sister right by my side because she did the same thing. Then I have Taylor. A lot of the way that we coach is really like what we experience in college. Like, our practices are like college layouts. Like, I go to college practices and watch these drills. Like, I'd have to like go before my job starts, my day job starts, to just because I want to like get better. And like, I have conversations with college coaches frequently and like get their opinion on like certain like me coming in and just like looking through practices and assessing like, so why did you do this? Why did you have practice plan like this? Like, what's your thought process behind it? Like, that is the dedication that I had to take to get better within this year. And I'm only going to continue to do that for next season too.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you learned a lot at USF. You led an assist on your team every year that you were there. You became a point guard out of nowhere. Yeah. You had the leadership ability. Yeah. The skill set was already there, and it's crazy. You just had to be put in that opportunity and given that responsibility. Sure. I think there's some people in this world, when you're just given a responsibility, you'll figure it out. And so you had that gift and you used it. What was your college experience like overall, just playing at USF?
It was fun. My teammates to this day I'm really cool with. I'm good friends. It was playing in college is just, you travel for free. Like, you get to go play at different colleges and like experience different things. You have developed lifelong friendships. You grow up a little when you're away from home. I honestly and truly believe that, because like, I can't call my mom for like, hey mom, like, I'm hungry, can I come over for dinner? Like, no girl, you gotta have to cook for yourself. So I had to learn. I'm like, I don't want a home cooked meal, but now I have to figure it out on my own. Like, little stuff like that, like budgeting and like, man, like college kids, I mean, different these days. College kids now are getting like millions. Yeah, they get paid. Like, we were broke college kids, like broke college athletes. And so, it was really fun. San Francisco itself is just such a fun city too. I had some family out in San Francisco. My uncle Ira recently passed, and he was that father figure that I had when I was out at USF, because I'm so used to having my family at every single game, and they couldn't, because obviously I'm further, but he was at every single game with my Auntie Becca, and that meant so much to me. Awesome. You know, so, but it was fun. It was great. I still have great friends to this day from USF. Tanya Have is my first coach my freshman and sophomore year, but then Jennifer Azzi took over my junior and senior year, and I'm close, and I still check in with Jennifer and Blair to this day. But it was an overall great experience. We weren't the best team, like we didn't have the best winning record, but I played against some tough teams. I played against Stanford for 2 years. Tennessee was another one. Colorado was a big one too. Like, played against some really, really good teams. And also went overseas. We played in Europe for a tournament too. Dope. So that was also fun. But yeah, playing in college is fun. You get to travel and be with your teammates and play the game you love. So it's awesome.
Oh, that's awesome. That's dope. And that's the thing, is about the experience that it gives you, and the opportunity gives you the free education. And you studied communications, and so your goal was to be a sports broadcaster already.
Yes, yes. I mean, I remember like I said, I wasn't really like sure what I wanted to do. I took classes to get me through college, and definitely was something that I shouldn't have done, but again, a learning lesson. But I did remember that we had a sports broadcaster, George Devine, and he had me on halftime shows because I had the personality on the team. So, I would just talk to him, and then I brought on my teammates, and I did like a fun show at halftime. Like, I really liked that stuff in interviewing, and so I thought I wanted to be a sports broadcaster. I did a little bit of that too, but just like talking about the game and seeing it from a different lens too, like from a player's perspective, but then also like observing the game and like the why behind certain players' tendencies. That was also cool to kind of learn as well. But yeah, I definitely wanted to be a sports broadcaster for sure.
No, that's cool. That's awesome. You still have opportunity, okay? You're not too old. Just know that. All right. Dope. And it kind of opens up with the big topic that we kind of been covering and continuing to cover is, like you said, you went to class just to go to school. And, there's a part of college where you're exploring what you do want to do when you're done. What was your goal after college, before, like when you went in, what was on your mind? WNBA, playing pro? What was it?
WNBA, I was no question. Like I wanted to play until like I couldn't walk. Like I was like that determined. WNBA, I know overseas also was something that a lot of players were getting paid more overseas, and so the idea of going overseas wasn't my favorite, but at the same time, like I knew that like that was also something, and I wanted to get up and get out and play professionally. So I remember after my senior year, I had an agent. And so I was like, oh my gosh, this is like a real thing. Like now I have an agent now looking for like jobs for me. But again, that summer of like not getting jobs, being overlooked again, like people that I like gave buckets to on a daily getting overseas jobs or like locking up. I'm like, here we go again, being overlooked. I still had to work hard. I still had to, work out and stuff. And I had to move back home after I graduated, right? So I had this degree and I moved home, but all summer I was in the gym, open runs, like, waiting for an opportunity. And so there was an opportunity that came up in London, but my agent and my coach said that wasn't the right fit for me, just to wait. And so I remember I was like living at home. My dad was like, okay, Rheina, we have to have a talk. Like, you got to get a job. Like, you're not, it's like what, August? And he's like, you haven't had a job yet? And I was like, Dad, like, there's probably going to be more opportunities. Like, I'm not a job. I don't work. Like,
right.
what?
I'm a hooper. Right.
Work? Like, no. And he's like, Rheina, like, for real. So I was like, fine. But I still didn't know what to do. And then the opportunity to be a director of basketball operations for Cal State Northridge, and then go to grad school, that popped up.
Oh, cool.
Because the coach at the time, Jason Flowers, recruited me when I was in high
way.
school.
Yeah. That's my guy. Okay.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, Jason. So Jay called me. He's like, are you looking for a job? I'm like, how do you know? Like,
so you just graduated. Everybody's like,
I was like, I really want to go overseas, but like my dad's like, you have to get a job, like, So
I'll talk about that. How did that feel, kind of giving up your dream and getting a job?
I was not happy. I'm not going to lie. Like, I loved, like, no disrespect to Jason. Like, he's a great person, but I didn't like it. I hated it. I had to drive to Northridge every day from Carson.
It's terrible.
And like living, it was, and also wanting to play so bad.
Yeah.
Being at practice, taking stats, being at games, like I wanted to play so bad. I couldn't even practice with them because NCAA rules I was considered on coaching staff, so I couldn't play with like pickup games and stuff. And I remember I played against Northridge my senior year, so I just played against them, and they still have the opportunity. So I struggled my first year. I really did. Like, I just was not happy. I told Jason after I just did one season, because I told him, I was like, look, I appreciate the experience here, but like, my heart's not in it. I wanted to do some hosting work, and it just wasn't for me. And so I quit after one season and just decided to be on the hunt of like figuring things out and like what's next for me. Do I host some gigs? I got a receptionist job close to home. Like, was really trying to figure it out. Like, at, I think I was like 23. So.
Wow. When did you finally accept that, hey, I'm not playing basketball anymore?
So an opportunity came about, I want to say around 2015, to play for the American Samoan national team. And it wasn't like a paid opportunity. It was just like to go represent the island at the South Pacific Games. And I was still hooping. Like, I was at 24 consistently. I was at open gyms. Like, I still was playing. But like, when that opportunity came about, it was myself and my sisters. So we would play to represent Samoa, and we would go fly out there. We had to pay for ourselves, so we fundraised for it. And we went out to play. Best experience ever. Like, I got to go visit Samoa and like meet my family, play against a packed out gym. We got the silver medal. We lost to Fiji in the championship, but it was so fun. And I was crying. I'm a crier. I don't know if you can tell. I've cried so many times, but I was crying when we lost. But I also, at that moment too, I think also the reason why I was like crying so hard is because I knew that was it for me. I knew like that was like, all right, that was what I wanted. Now it's time to like find something else. So it was like 2015, 2016. And I was content with it though, because I got my fix. Like, that's what I wanted. I wanted to feel that thrill again. And it was so fun, great experience. But yeah, it was after we lost to Fiji for the championship in that gym where I was like, damn, this is it.
Yeah.
But I'm okay with it now, you know?
Good.
So.
No, that's good. That's why I would like that point where you were just at peace with letting the game go.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad you got an opportunity to compete at a high level and represent your country.
Yeah.
And, not a lot of people get that opportunity. So that's dope. I'm glad that I think people need to find that peace, what that looks like. Mine was adult leagues. Like, I was like, yo, I'm just playing this adult league and give everybody buckets until I can't anymore, and make sure I can dunk until I'm 50. That's my goal. And so, no, that's yes, I can still dunk, even with this bad knee here. And so, that's awesome. So so you had some college experience a little bit, our college coaching experience. Yes. And from that standpoint, Jason Flower is an awesome guy. Then you go to your hosting career, kind of get into the broadcast, kind of that media side. And so what was that experience like, and how was that transition?
That experience was different. I'm a people person, so, talking and getting their stories and stuff like that was just like so fun to me. And I had to take a couple of unpaid opportunities to put together my reel and like send it out to TV stations and stuff like that. So that definitely was a struggle a little bit, because like obviously it's gas, and like I had to just research and everything and stuff. So I think the one part that I didn't like about sports broadcasting, or just broadcasting in general, because I did some entertainment stuff as well, is it was more so like gossip, or like the story that's like kind of negative sells. Yeah. I think that makes your interview great if you get the juicy stuff, you know? That wasn't me. Yeah. I struggle with that, because I'm like, I'm not going to ask about the personal life that I know, because at the end of the day, these are human beings. Like, it just wasn't in me to talk negatively about somebody publicly, or like put them in a very uncomfortable position, and be vulnerable for some clicks or for some views. Like, I didn't like that part of the industry. And so I kind of like slowly went away from that. I would do it here and there from like topics that I liked, like up and coming, like, new artists or new players, and like their journey and stuff like that. That was great storytelling to me. But like the gossip and like any of that stuff, or I didn't care much for it. It's just that's not who I am. So I kind of went away from that for sure. And the majority of my career has been around marketing, social media marketing.
Okay,
so.
Cool. No, it's good that you got to experience it and you know your stuff. I'm the same way too. I think our stuff, people engage with it on social media. Nobody goes and listens to it on YouTube or the actual podcast. Unless you're like a hoop head. Yeah. Like hoop heads listen to this, and it's because we're not like digging out drama. Right. We do get everybody thinks this is a basketball show. It's really not. It's really like a personal development and people's story and connecting with it, so we can bring this back an informative show, right? Yeah. And so people miss out on all the jewels because we're not. If they have to listen to the whole story to get the full picture, and so I understand that, and I think I'm just be consistent. One day it's going to pop off somewhere because there's positive stories out there too that get seen, and so. You guys listen to the whole thing on YouTube and podcast, and Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen. Anyways, so how did you get into coaching?
So coaching, the pandemic hit 2020, and I was in a position, I live on my own, so I had to be still, obviously, because nothing was open and we weren't allowed to. Mm-hmm. So I really struggled with that because I'm a social person. I like being around people, I like being around my family. So I really had to be still and figure out, like, what am I going to do? I jumped into working in the tech world, which is like all God, because working in tech during the pandemic, the tech software industry did not crash compared to all the other industries, and I just made that shift right before the pandemic hit. And the marketing agency that I worked at doesn't exist anymore because the pandemic impacted it so bad. So literally just made the switch. I got this job in November of 2019. Right before the world shut down. Right before the world shut down. So, all God, but I didn't like it. But then when 2020 hit, I was just like, okay, what the hell am I going to do with my life? Like, again, I'm 29. I don't like what I'm doing. I'm about to be 30. And, something's missing. I don't know what it is, but something's missing. And I was praying for, like, purpose. So 2021, a friend of mine was one of the boys basketball coaches at St. Bernard High School, and they were looking for a head girls basketball coach. And St. Bernard High School is a Division V school, very raw, like not a lot of, like literally these girls have never touched, like they're not basketball players, they're just students. So I interviewed for the job, I got it, and I remember my first practice, I'm like, 3-man weave, they did not know what a 3-man weave was. I said, oh boy, here we go. Like the basics.
Started from the bottom.
I'm talking hand in the cookie jar type, like form, shooting, L, like. Yes. I said, all right, here we go. Like, this is gonna be fun. So, but it was the team that really impacted me. Like, I will never forget my first team at St. Bernard High School. The girls were just so fun. Like, we had such a great relationship. I made basketball fun for them. And we were so bad, we got blown out our first game ever. And then league, we ended up taking second, and we made playoffs. Oh, wow. So it was fun, and we were sponsored by Jordan Brand the first year too, so we got to experience that. The girls were like, they realized what basketball can take them. Like, wow.
Did they know who Jordan was?
They actually did.
All right, cool.
They actually did. It was just, I'm surprised. But like, they just realized how fun it was to like, wow, this is real cool, and they wanted to work hard. They wanted to get better, and they're like, had such a fire, this energy, like just a great, because again, I made sure that the relationship aspect was important, because these girls, some of them wanted to play, some of them didn't care, they just wanted to have fun. And so I developed a really close relationship with them. We had fun, we worked hard, we got better. To the transition from first practice to the end, it was great. And so that's when I realized like my purpose and my calling is to coach. And that season was definitely impactful forever. Like I'm still close with some of my players to this day. And that really was just a fun season, to bring me back into this game. So, after the season was over, I heard the Bishop job was open, and I went for it. I was like, I only have 1 year of head coaching experience. but whatever, like, I'm gonna try it out, like, you know,
Yeah.
and that's my school, that's my home. So I applied, I interviewed, and I got the job. When I had to tell my players at St. Bernard, though, that I'm leaving, that was the toughest time ever. Like, it was really hard. Tears, like,
from everybody.
Like, it was the most traumatizing. I was so sad. Like, I remember because it was spring conditioning, right? And everybody came to spring conditioning. They're like, want to get better. Like, coach, I've been working on it. Like, they were so excited. They went to the beach before, and then they came back. They're ready to work out. Like, so excited. They did their warm-ups. I said, okay, let's go to the bleachers. I have to talk to you guys real quick. And then I said, okay, so I'm going to tell you guys something, but I need you to trust me. And I said, I'm not going to be your coach next year. Tears flowing.
I can
sad.
only imagine.
Some of them walked out. I told the parents before, I said, just be there, please, because it's going to be hard. I'm crying. Like, it was so hard. I gave them hugs. I was like, it's not you guys. Like, sometimes, like, when your dream job is here, like, you have to take steps to get there. So they were mad at me. Not gonna lie. They were so mad. But
Sure.
after a couple, you know, after some days, like, you know, they warmed up. They understood. So
Yeah. No, that's awesome. What made you? Because you were successful in your first year. You had a losing record, but you made the playoffs, and you got second in league with a team that didn't belong there, probably.
Yeah.
You know, what did you bring that year that you think got them to overachieve?
I feel like I brought the passion and the energy into this game. Like, I made it fun for them.
Even though they weren't skilled enough to have the skills, you made it fun.
Because it's like, I wanted them to go out there and compete. Like, who cares about the score? Like, you just go out there, give me your best. We're getting blown out, but I would never get down on them, like, get on them for getting blown out, because clearly we're losing to a better team, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I would just cheer for them. So some of them made their first basket, and that is like the best feeling ever when they're looking at you and we're down by 30, but they made their basket and they're so happy. I'm like, I'm happy too. Yeah. So like, I made sure that, like, I celebrated them, like, you know, and never kind of made that part of the game just like, I made learning fun, you know. And so I remember I got a compliment from a ref. He said, your team worked their butts off no matter what the score was. That shows heart, you know, that you guys have. So that's what was most important for me. It's just like, I knew that, like, the team was a better team, don't get me wrong, but like, what we can control is how we play. Yeah. And forget the score, just continue to play hard, and like, they feed off of my energy. So if I'm low, if I'm mad, they're going to be low and mad. Yeah. So I have to rise. My energy has to be up and positive and uplifting, so they can feel the same way too.
Yes,
so.
They're going to mirror your behavior. Yes. No, that's awesome.
Exactly.
That is awesome. Awesome. And so you get your dream job, back to your alma mater, and you said the interview process was long, and, you know, what was the first thing you did when you got that job?
I had a parent meeting. First thing, I had to have a parent meeting because I already knew it was going to be some, like, who is this, you know? I had big shoes to fill, you know. It's Noelle Quinn, and but I had, like, assured them, like, she's still on my side, like, she helps me, like, I have her come into our practice, like, I still am that way. But I had a parent meeting, and I gave them my expectations, and this is who I am, this is what I want, culture is important. And, you know, I immediately started to build the foundation of the culture that I want. And the way to do that is to develop a relationship with the 12 new players that I have. And some of them are open, some of them weren't, which is fine. I continue to, like, you know, have that relationship with them on their time, right? So I did that. It wasn't the easiest. My first year, we were still successful, but it was hard, you know, I was in positions that I've never been in before.
Give me an example.
Okay, so I was in, like, a couple parent meetings about, like, playing time and that, and explaining, like, the reasons behind it. And I've never been in a parent meeting before, so, you know, going through that conversation was tough. Also, just like trying to be the mediator of like a team issue was also important, is something different too. But again, experience. I had to go through these things. Making adjustments for games to win games. I think that like looking back last year, there were some adjustments that I could have made through these losses that I realize now. But again, like I was in the moment of like, dang, like, that I could have done that, but we still won league and we made open division my first year, like barely. We were 8.
Wow.
So
You don't do that. You made open.
we made open.
You made open.
We made open. But that was difficult too, and like I just constantly felt like I had to prove myself my first year. Like I remember I was getting interviewed for a newspaper, and I said, "So were you given the job or did you have to interview?" Yeah. I've experienced a lot of stuff like undermining my ability, how I look, how young I am, how I coach. Like, it's just a lot of negativity my first year, and I just stuck through it. I went through the lows, had a couple hard times at home by myself after games. Like when we won, I still didn't feel like we won. It was really tough my first year. But that's when I was just like, you know what, like I'm changing everything. Like I'm learning. I experienced things, but like now that I have my first year under the belt, like I am staying strong in my beliefs and our foundation, and you either get with it or you don't.
There you go.
You gotta go.
Culture.
So culture is important. And we finally have the culture that I want. I'm surprised at how fast we did it within one season, but that's the girls bought in.
Yep.
And that's important, and I think that definitely has everything to do with the foundation and then like the work that I had to put in to get us here to our success. Like it's not just everything on the court. Like there's a lot of work that you have to do as a coach off the court, in one-on-one meetings, like to build this culture, and I'm happy that we are here. But yeah, it was tough. It was very tough.
Yeah.
So.
How often do you have one-on-one meetings with your girls?
I do preseason meetings, midseason, and postseason. Preseasons are usually just like expectations from the year, like what do you see for yourself. Mid-season, we review what we have so far. We're halfway through before we start league. Like, what do I want them to improve on? So those are like the set ones. But like, if I need to do a meeting of like, I'm noticing, because I'm close to these girls, so I notice different behavior. Like, hey, let's talk real quick. Let's talk. How are you? Sometimes I even talk about basketball. I'm like, what's going on at home? Are you good? Like, stuff like that. And then they open up and tell me. So like, schedule meetings like preseason, midseason, postseason, but like, there have been times where they call me and like, can we talk? Or I'll point something out, something's wrong, so we go talk. So yeah.
No, that's awesome. I think coaches don't know that. I don't think coaches understand how. No, it's probably basic for you because you played at some high levels of basketball, right? But I don't think all high school coaches understand the benefit of having those meetings and having that space where a kid can open up stuff outside of basketball, and those are extremely important, even on the lower levels. Like, these middle school kids deal with so much, and the high school definitely deal with a lot, and even college, where it can be very transactional because it's about winning. That's how you keep your job, and even in Southern California high school basketball, winning is what keeps your job. But understanding that personal touch and that relationship that you build with your players is what's going to help you win. That's what you did. That's what you did at Burners. You just created a relationship with them and put some faith into them, and then that was it. I also want to touch briefly on, you hear it throughout your whole journey and conversation, and your the faith that you have, right? That God is giving you these opportunities and your trust in Him. So what has that been like, just your faith journey through, from the time you were 7 with this basketball game to now, where you're the head coach of the number 6 team in Southern California, getting ready for open division. Well, you got a couple more games for league too. Tomorrow's your last game. Okay, and you guys are going to win league regardless of win or loss tomorrow, and you're probably going to win open division. You're here now. What has that faith journey been like?
Man, my faith has been tested a lot, with during hard times, because I feel like with coaching, I've never been in a lot of negativity until I started coaching. it's tough. I mean, I think there's a lot of great people that coach and love this game and love their players, but they're driven away by outside noises a lot. We're losing a lot of great people to coach.
Yeah.
And that's a problem. And I feel like when a lot of negativity hits me and stuff, you know, my faith I'm always just like, why? What's going on? I feel like I'm doing everything I should do. You know, I caught myself questioning God a couple times, you know, like, is this really what I want to do? Like, do I really want to deal with these people? Like, I don't know if this is really what I want me to do. Like, are you sure? Like, stuff like that. But again, like, I feel like He's brought me through so much throughout my basketball career and my personal career, to where it's just like, how can I question God? By pulling me through these moments of like, where I was low, I was really sad about things, or I just wasn't feeling my best, and He pulled me out of things, like changed my life around, and I can give credit to Him. There's nothing else. Yes, the work ethic is there, but you truly have to understand that how blessed that we are and how I am, because like I said, there's been moments where only God has pulled me through, you know, certain times, and you know, because I know how good God is, I have to stand firm in faith and know that everything is going to be okay in the long run. And I know that when these girls are 25, you know, when they're finishing or they're playing in college, that they're going to look back at high school and like, I hope they would see like now like what I tried to teach them, you know, and still have that great relationship with them when they're, you know, adults as well. So although my faith has been tested, like, you know, I still have to, I'm grateful for the challenges and how He pulled me through some certain areas too.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. It's always good to have God to lean on, and someone who loves you unconditionally and will provide a way and never put you in a position that you can't handle. And so that's why He keeps putting you in those positions, because you're an overcomer. You're going to prove somebody wrong in whatever you're doing, and keep proving God right. And so continue to do that and encourage you in that. All right. Thank you so much for your journey, for sharing. I know there's so much more to unpack with that. We'll do it for next time you're on the show. You're going to be on here again, because we're going to talk about after you win Open Division. Hey, let me talk crazy. All right. So next segment of the show, My Rushmore. Okay, is your top 4, and we're going to go destinations to travel.
Okay, destinations to travel. I want to go to Jamaica.
Okay.
I want to go to Turks.
And why?
Okay, so I went to the Bahamas for my sister's bachelorette last 2 years ago, I think. So fun, and I'm like, I just want to be on an island for those two. So yes, definitely those. I do Turks and Bali. Yeah. And then
you want to like get the hotel in the jungle, Bali, that side? No, you ain't with that. Okay.
I'm not one with nature.
Got you.
Know, so like a nice hotel.
Got you. Okay.
But yeah, and then I'd say like my 4th, I would say I want to visit Spain. Spain. Yeah.
Oh, no, those are all great places with some good views for sure. I think I just did this like last week, huh? Yeah, I did this a minute ago, so I'm probably going to pick different ones, guys, because I don't remember what I said before. But my 4, for sure, countries in Africa. I think I want to like do like a travel around different countries within Africa, and like, you know, kind of just see, you know, where my heritage and my culture is from. So I heard it's like a outer body emotional experience when you know, when you go back to where you're from, like where, you know, your roots are at. And then for why am I forgetting the name of this place? Tahiti. Thank you, Karina. Tahiti. I don't know why I blanked, but same thing. Kind of the island. I want to, you know, a hut in the middle of the water. Yes, that's my thing. Nice. So me and my wife we definitely want that. And then I'm forgetting the name of everywhere right now. I'm totally blanking the place that is very rich. Dubai, thank you. Karina, you could talk louder, they can hear you. All right, Dubai, thank you, Dubai. I just want to experience what it's like to be. Yeah, see, you know exactly what it was, right?
It's like, that's perfect. Dubai.
Yes, and so Dubai, just experience that. Like, it just looks like it's a, like, kind of a regal experience.
Sure.
And so to do that, and then, see if I can get this right. I'm trying to do all the places I said before. Oh, Greece. I want to go to like Greece and Europe, kind of do like a river cruise along that Mediterranean Sea and just see all of that and just like go to places that the Bible talks about. I think it'd be super dope. So yeah, so those are the 4. So awesome. All right. So this is, we call this Fix the Net. Okay. Either a misconception about you or basketball, women's basketball, or just a misconception in the world that you want to make straight. And after you give us that, you can fix the net and tell us the truth about it.
Make it to fix the net?
Yes.
Okay.
After you tell us what it is. Yes.
Okay. I think this might be considered a misconception. I don't know. But leave coaches alone. There are great people that are coaching. I've seen so many people recently, some coaches that quit because of parents, fans, like admin, negativity. These are great people who dedicate their time. They don't do it for money. The ones that I've known personally, it's like we are sacrificing our time and our love for this game or whatever game. It's not even just basketball. My uncle is a football coach, and I've come from a football family. My other uncle who passed football coach. Like, coaches are here, great people that want to see your kid succeed. Now, you might have a different experience with a coach and understand that they're not great people, but for the ones that are truly great people, leave them alone. We don't do it for the money, sacrifice our time. We're doing it for a passion and for a love for the game and for a love for our kids. And I would say I'm trying to encourage more women to coach, but if you've never coached before and if you've never played a game, how could you say that somebody else doesn't know what they're doing? That's a misconception I think that these people need to understand. So
yes. Thank you very much. Buckets. Awesome. Thank you for saying that for all of us in this coaching game. No, I think it's extremely important. No, don't be sorry. That's what we need to hear. I think the parents need to hear that we're human. We're not here to, it's our job. Like, just like you have a job, and regardless of how you think we're doing our job, we are here for these kids. Yeah, if we weren't, you could tell the ones who aren't here for the kids. Hey, be mean to them. But for everybody else, treat us human, you know? Yeah, treat us human. Awesome. So now you're the interviewer. You're going back into your host mode. All right, we're here. 2 questions from me. Anything in the world.
Okay. So there has been a rise of coverage, I'd say, on a positive level for the women's basketball platform specifically, which is great for women's sports. Just recently, LSU in South Carolina had the most watched game. And so this is just a great and exciting time for women's basketball. So what would be one of your, like, what team do you like to watch? It could be college, it could be WNBA, but which women's team do you like to watch?
UCLA. I love Corey Close. I love how the girls play. They're so intelligent. I love good basketball and the angles they play at, how they like read the floor, and it's like it's modern basketball to me. It's not like old school, and I just love their tempo, and you know, all the Southern California girls who play there too. Like, it's just cool to watch. I'm supposed to have Coach Corey Close on this show, and so I've had a couple. Derek Fisher recommended her, and somebody else did. Who was it? There's somebody else. So there's a bunch of shout outs for her to come and sit in that chair, and so I love watching UCLA basketball. It's
of course.
So it's my favorite team though.
Her structure and her everything. Like, outside of that, what she says, like how she's such a good motivational speaker too. I've studied a lot of her stuff too. I have one more question or two?
One more. If you have more, just talk.
Okay, so last question. I always tell myself to be the coach that I needed when I was younger. And so that's why I am the way that I am, is because I would like that relationship with my coach. And so, you know, for you, who was, if you were to say, like, I need to be the coach that I needed when you were younger, what would that coach look like?
Who I am today.
Yeah.
I think I created this business, my business core and training and everything I do because I had great coaches. I really did. I had good basketball coaches. I even my AAU youth, I had good mentors.
Mm-hmm.
I needed somebody that believed in my potential
Mm-hmm.
and then show me exactly what to do. And so that's what I built this whole business on is, hey, this is how you work.
Yeah.
This is what it looks like to grind every day. These are the steps you take to get to the next level. These are the people you need to have around you. These are the people you need to get rid of. This is how you should live your life if you want to reach these ultimate goals. And yeah, it's who I am today. I'm tough and disciplined. Like my little 6th graders are scared of me. They're just terrified of me. And then my 7th and 8th graders, they understand me a little more as they get mature and they understand. My high schoolers love me. It's because I connect with them personally, like you said. I'm like, what are you doing in your life?
Yeah.
And then we can talk about basketball.
For sure.
I'm still tough on them and hold them accountable on the basketball court and let them understand that, hey, basketball is just a game, man. But this game could take you places if you do it the right way. And so just being disciplined, being focused, and giving the information they need to get to their goals and just being there for them, like through everything. Like I literally have players who call me when they're in college and dealing with a girl and like, coach, what do I do? Like those, and I've coached them since middle school though, but they still connect with me on that personal level. So just love being that person to help someone do better in life in general. So
Nice.
Awesome, thank you. You know you set up different when you start asking questions.
Huh?
You set up different when you start asking questions. You were like, okay, now, it was awesome. No, you're good. This is what you do. All right, so that's your camera there. We have a 30-second shot. It's 35 seconds in girls, right? Shot clock?
Yes.
35.
30
seconds.
30 seconds.
All right, so you have a 30-second shot clock. Tell the people where they can find you and any message that you have for them, or, you know, actually, you can talk about it. Locked in a little bit. Yeah, talk about that. 30 seconds.
Okay. Hi, I'm Rheina, the head coach at Bishop Montgomery High School. Follow us at BMHS Girls Hoops and myself at RHEINA_Ale, ALE. Definitely want to encourage people that are watching this to stay locked into their journey. Basketball specifically, the ball will stop bouncing at some point in your life. So I encourage you to find your passion outside of the sport and, you know, stay grinding. Because, you know, your time is going to come.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And I'm sorry for messing up your last name at the beginning of this.
Oh, it's okay.
No, your intro is everything.
It's okay.
I might have to redo it. My goodness.
It's okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, Rheina Ale. Yes, excuse my ignorance. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. That was fun.
All right, everybody. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.